Okay, we're ready.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in, Alice. If you could please start with your full name and your date of birth and where you were born.
Okay, my name is Alice Rodin now. As I grew up, it was Alice Keltz. And I was born here in Portland at Emmanuel Hospital. And I actually grew up at 40th and Adams. And that was our homestead that we got in 1894.
Wow. Okay, so that's where you lived your entire
yes.
life until adulthood when you moved out? Okay, yeah.
And my mother did also.
So it was your great-grandparents that came to Milwaukee? Or?
No, just my grandparents.
Your grandparents, okay. Where did they come from?
Switzerland.
Okay.
Now, my grandfather's name was Godlip Beechin, and he came from Bern. And my grandmother's name was Elizabeth, Lizzie, or Elsie, depending who it was, and she came from Lucerne. And they met in the Swiss dances out in Clackamas.
Oh,
well, that's fun.
There were Swiss dances.
Yeah, it's like a lot of times. Like I remember, we would have a Grange party out in there, and that was during the time that I guess they met. And when they married, he was, oh my goodness, 29, I think, and she was maybe 18.
So they married and bought a land claim?
I'm not sure exactly what they did before. I did bring the taxes and some things that we have from that, but they bought it from Mr. Menthorn from the Oregon Land Company.
Oh, wow.
And they had to pay $300.
Oh my gosh.
Which was a lot of money. That was a lot of money. Yeah. The taxes I have show them paying $2.70 and
an acre.
Yeah.
So they started a farm or a dairy?
Yes, we had a farm. I guess my grandfather worked in the bars and the taverns a lot because he worked downtown. And then he would come out here, but when I grew up, we still had one lot that was all farmed, and I have lanterns where apparently he had to get the cows off the railroad tracks.
So you had cows too?
We had cows and free range cows all the way clear up to past Stanley Avenue, I guess
Oh, wow.
And
huge land claim.
Well, we didn't own that. They just grazed up there that far.
Oh, I see.
So we, I think it showed 3 lots that we had here that he bought under his name, but he helped with the Watanabes when they came in, and the celery gardens, and I think he died in 42 or 43.
Okay, right about, excuse me, right before you were born.
Yeah, I was born in 50.
50, okay. And so then your parents came. Were they farmers too? What was their name?
My father was a cowboy.
Oh.
And my mom was here, and so they came and bought the property from my mom bought it from my grandparents. And so they continued on here. And that's when it went from Beechin to Keltz. And that's Keltz.
Where was your dad a cowboy? Where was he from?
Well, it's hard debatable. He was given to the Portland Girls and Boys 8 Society when he was 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
And
because his parents died, or?
No, there was just the story supposedly where there was 13 children, and Sylvester Keltz just drove through the area and said, "Did you want a girl or a boy?" So they gave him out. I got a few letters from 1916 where his mother was still around and was trying to find out from the Boys and Girls Aid Society from him. But what had happened is he got adopted out and was taken up to Hell's Canyon area.
Where's that?
In right Oregon, Idaho border area.
Oh, okay.
There.
All right.
And so he was up there. He always said he was from La Grande because that was the closest big town.
I see.
But apparently we found out years later after he passed away, and I finally got records, he was born in Utah.
Oh.
And so he traveled quite a bit as a child, I guess.
Yeah.
But he lived up there until he was about 14 or so, and then he left the farming area then, and mostly stayed in Prineville and La Grande and that area.
So he came over here on vacation and met your mother?
Right. He came to Portland and became a bus driver.
Oh my goodness.
And she would get on the bus, and he just kept a conversation for her.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
She's 18 at this picture here.
Oh, nice.
And she had also wore glasses at times. And I think that's the two biggest ones that I have. And they met that way, and they eventually got married. Got married in Reno. She said that her honeymoon was happened in a horse trailer. They cleared out the horse trailer, and I remember them saying something. She goes, "Well, there was new hay," you know. So
romance is romance.
I guess so. And I guess if you're going to marry a cowboy, I guess that's what you do. I do have a lot of programs from the rodeo where it shows his name and that he wrote.
Did you ever see him roping cattle? Or
no, I never
like
got to, because after I was born, she said, "I'll leave you if you keep that kind of lifestyle," and he said, "Not a problem," you know, and he started working in the shipyards down at Zidell's.
Oh, okay, somewhere around the World War II. Huh?
Yeah, and then the only other thing is, I know he rode a horse into Max Pitt. He got in trouble for that. And I had a big star that Vigilante was written across it, and I actually have a picture of him here where in 1950 when I was born and we had the Milwaukie parade and centennial and everything, he had his picture taken.
Oh, fun. So did you have horses and cattle at your place?
No. Well, by the time that I grew up, I think we had rabbits.
But any farms too? Or
No, the closest that I really got back to a farm was my aunt and uncle, which was Aunt Emma, my mom's sister. They lived out in Gresham. And he was a berry farmer. So that was kind of my life, going to their farm and picking berries, you know, doing that during the summer. So I grew up as a child labor. You know?
I don't think there's a kid who grew up in Milwaukee during that time that didn't pick berries.
That's right.
We all did.
Yeah, that was. Hey, you got some money, even if it was 18 cents a flat. You know. But yeah.
So how many siblings do you have?
I have one half sister. I had one half sister. She was from my mom's first marriage. Her name is Lavora. And she passed away in 98. And my mom passed away 2 months after.
Oh my goodness.
So I kind of was not the best year. I lost everybody that year.
Oh, sorry.
And what about your dad?
My dad passed away, it will be on the 19th of next month, 50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So you were relatively young then still when he passed?
I was 23. as I grew up, I didn't grow up with the family where, you went to vacations and you did all that. They were already ready to retire. My whole family, I don't remember anybody with really dark hair. Everybody was gray haired, and I grew up, sounds terrible now, but I grew up in back of a car pretty much because they were ready to retire, and they were at the various bars and different things on a Sunday afternoon. And I didn't mind. I got chips and soda and hamburgers. And
people were nice to you, I bet.
Yeah, and people would always come out and give you stuff, and you had coloring books and.
Sure. So what schools did you go to?
I started out by going to Wichita for kindergarten. And at that time, the school was full, so they put 2 classes in the basement there.
Wow.
And I was one of the classes that was in the basement. And then Hector Campbell was built. So I spent 1st through 6th grade at Hector Campbell. And then that time, Ickes was built. Dale J. Ickes, or Icky Ickes, as we used to call it. And that was 7th and 8th grade. And then from there I went to Milwaukie and graduated in '68.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great. And you didn't go on to college or anything?
No,
It wasn't really done much that time.
it was... In 1968, there was too many exciting things going on in the world.
There were.
And I hate to admit it. Now, I look back now at it and wish that I would have been more settled or adult and went to school, because college was free at that time.
Or almost.
Yeah, almost to a point. Well, my dad being a veteran.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He was military police in the Army. And
where?
That I don't know. I've got one picture of him in his big armband and everything.
Oh, okay.
Just during the Second World War?
Yeah, I'm sure it had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, no, I could not settle down. I had to go out into the world and play.
Well, who are some of your friends we were talking about? The Bins that had the
The Bins grew up here. I grew up here. During the school, it was the kids across the street, because there was nobody when I grew up.
Sure. And what were their last names?
Cerveny, I think. And let's see, the Welches. And what's Paul's last name? He's lived right up on Jackson. I can't think of his last name now. It's a name that you would recognize.
Oh, darn, yeah.
And it's mostly the kids in the neighborhood.
Right, exactly.
But
there was a lot of also, early settlers that were still around then.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe.
Yeah, no, the Serenginos were too far. They were up over the hill. And so I guess as growing up as a kid, I pretty much stayed right in this neighborhood.
As we do as kids, yeah. So do you remember what's some of the big things? Do you remember the festival days when they first started?
Yeah.
Was that 1950 that your dad was in the festival days? Or?
Yeah, I think that's when I've got a bow tie that says 18 something to 1950.
Oh, that's 1959. That's the centennial.
Okay, so I've got that one. And if I look at, there is 1950 of my dad. Sorry about that.
No problem.
1950 of my dad.
I love it.
With the jaunty hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll look at those more closely.
Yeah, and, well, I was going to see, maybe it would jog my memory of some of the people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about some of the others, like the Columbus Day
Oh, the
storms.
Columbus Day storm. That was, we had walked to Milwaukee. And my mom didn't drive. My mom never drove, never smoked, or never drank.
Wow.
And so that was our thing, walking. Milwaukee was quite a ways. I was, what was it, 62? Columbus Day storm. Yeah, so I was, 11, 12.
64. I
No,
don't
64
remember.
is when we built our house up.
Okay, all right.
So 62. And we went by the tree, and the places that we stopped at the dogwood tree, which would be 32nd and Harrison. And then we'd go up the hill, and we'd stop up at 40th and Monroe, because that was the top of the hill. And then we'd come right down 42nd to the house. And so we went there and back, and by the time we got to on 40th, it was starting to get windy. So we hurried on home, and I remember being locked in the house because there were buckets flying and just all kinds of stuff. I ran outside because I wanted to see Mrs. Kramer lived next door to us, and I wanted to go see how she was. And I got hit in the side with a bucket, a great big bruise. So taught me to stay in the house when I was told to. But we lost like a 70 to 90 foot chestnut tree in our backyard.
Oh my gosh.
And it was wonderful. It became my ship. It was a pirate ship.
That's great. So,
yeah,
let's see, you remember Kennedy coming?
The only thing I remember of Kennedy, I wasn't down in Milwaukee when he was down there. What I do remember is when announcing in the school. And that was at, I was in, 7th or 8th?
Announcing
of his assassination.
Oh, right.
And they closed the school, and we all went home that day.
Sure.
Yeah. How about, let's see, the floods? Do you remember those? That you were really, if you stayed up here.
No, I stayed up here, and we really didn't have it. We would hear how Johnson Creek would flood, and the bottom would be,
that was constant,
swampy.
though. Yeah,
that was something that was always there. But and at the bottom of the hill, we just, I don't remember us really getting anything.
Yeah.
We had a big house. My grandfather built it, and he used pegs instead of nails.
Oh,
wow.
Switzerland, that's how they did that. And I guess
the house gone?
Yes, the tack shed. There was a tack shed in downtown Milwaukee, and he took it apart, brought it up, and attached it, and that was our kitchen. So any of the older buildings at that time, just at the turn of the
century.
the century, he would go and
the
get
20th century.
and bring him up and tack on. And our kitchen was a step up, and when we went through the living room, there was big pillars there, and they came from somewhere else. And
wow.
And then you had to step down into the back room. We all slept in one room.
Oh.
Wow.
We had one large room, and then there was another step on the back porch where my grandmother got to live. So that's what it was a pretty good size house. When it burnt in, I guess it was about 64, 63, it burnt. We came home, and everybody, we were devastated. I lost my pet turtle.
Oh.
That was hard. And 2 dogs.
Oh no.
they went ahead, and by the time we got home, across the field there was a milk shed, and the people all took a donation and rented the milk shed for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we lived there a couple years until we got up enough to build a house.
Wow, wow. So was your grandmother still with you at that time?
No.
Oh, okay.
My grandmother must have passed. I found her in the back room when I think I was 6.
Oh.
5 or 6. And,
That must have been tough.
well,
So,
all Mom said that all I did is come in and say, Grandma won't wake up.
yeah, so you're
Yeah.
too young to really know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So we were talking a little bit about, when we were 13 years old. And so what are some of the things you liked to do when you were younger and as you went
Ride
along?
horses.
Oh,
I'd go out to Foster, stables out on Foster, and ride the horses out there.
take the bus out? Or?
No, Mom and Dad would drop me off
Oh,
on the day. Otherwise, when I was in town here, I looked forward just going to the dances on weekends, which was the Milwaukie Community Center or the Chase. And then as I got older, when I got to be 16 to 18, I'd go downtown, take the bus downtown, and have to be home by midnight. We had an officer, Officer Brown, and
you mean here in Milwaukee?
yeah, here in
Okay.
Milwaukee, and he would watch me get off the bus there, and he'd time me and tell me I had 15 minutes to get home. And let me tell you, that was the fastest 15 minutes. I'd have to make it from downtown Milwaukee up to the corner here.
So he didn't give you a ride?
No. He didn't give me a ride. He had more fun harassing me. Yeah, I know. He called me a little hippie girl.
Yeah.
So,
So your parents didn't get involved in the local politics
No.
or anything like that?
no, I think that, like I said, my dad he was a deputy sheriff for a while.
I wondered if there was any connection there.
Yeah. He was a deputy sheriff somewhere for a while, of course, the vigilante star, but otherwise I'm not sure if it was Clackamas County or Multnomah County. We used to have a badge, and I don't know where it ever happened to that. We lost a lot when the house burnt down in
Sure.
64.
Sure.
They had to come in with a bulldozer and bulldoze it because it still stood. My grandfather put it together so well.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a builder.
Yeah.
So it's odd that he didn't stay in the building industry.
My dad?
Your grandfather.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that we had one picture of him standing in front of one of the bars out downtown, with the
Downtown Milwaukee?
Portland. No,
Or
downtown Portland, with an apron that hung clear down to his
Oh, wow.
ankles practically, and the big handlebar mustache. I think that he just got old and settled down.
Because he was older when they got married.
Yeah,
Well, kind of.
kind of
29.
older. Yeah.
So what about you said something about a son?
I have a son. His name is Arrakis. Yeah, it was the 70s. And,
What does that mean?
it's from the movie Dune.
Oh, okay.
When I was pregnant, I was reading the book Dune. From
Which is a heavy read.
Yeah, from Frank Herbert. And when he was born, he had sandy color hair, blue eyes, and he was the spice of my life. And so that's where,
Right, from Dune, right?
yeah. So he became, we pronounce it Arrakis.
Oh.
And Arcus Sebastian.
That's a great name.
Yes.
And he's always lived pretty much in Milwaukie. He spent a couple years in the Netherlands, but pretty much it's always came back to Milwaukie also.
You too?
Mm-hmm.
Is he your only child?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, is there anything else, something special you love about Milwaukie, something you hate about Milwaukie, all of the above?
I find I'm sad that it's changing as much as it is, because I remember the early Milwaukie.
Changing in what way?
I'm scared that more of the, I don't know, criminal element is moving out from Portland. You know, we're not the little city on the corner of the map anymore. They're filtering out here. Before it was, you never worried about anything, and everybody knew everybody. It seemed like.
Yeah.
You know. We've always had history here. Another thing my grandfather did was help build the pillars out in front of Leading Library.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the big stone pillars. And, you know, I mean, it was our city.
Sure.
So, and I guess I just have never really moved away. I have moved away, but I'm always coming back, and now I'm on the outskirts because I'm just out in Gladstone area.
Yeah, well, it's still kind of fringe Milwaukie.
Yeah, it's still, well, it's actually, the address still says Milwaukie.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think across the street is Oak Grove or Oatfield or something. But
I see.
Yeah, we're still Milwaukie.
So that's the thing you don't like. What do you like?
What do I like? I like the fact that it was rural, but it wasn't so far, you know, that the big city was just half an hour away, and I don't know, everything around here that we could pick berries, we could go skating on the ice ponds during the winter down in Olmark area, and and there were still a few farms, and you know, I'm glad that I grew up that way.
Sure.
We had to get an outhouse, remove the outhouse in, I think, 57 to 59, something like that. The city declared that we had to modernize. And so we took one of the back rooms and put a bathtub in and a toilet. And I remember that because everybody came to our house for a party. You know, it was a big thing, you know, and I remember my mom had to cook over a wood stove.
Wow.
Up until that time, we had an outhouse and a wood stove. And the old cliche of taking a bath in front of the wood stove on the weekends, I got to do that.
Sure.
You know, and I am so glad that I grew up in that type of environment.
Sure.
It's hard to tell people now, you know, or kids especially. You say party line, they go, what? Where's the party?
Right.
That's great.
That was a big deal when we got the phone. In fact, I just got rid of the phone number 7 years ago that we had.
Wow.
Oh, is that right?
When the phones first came in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
It was Olive 4 3861, and then it went from Olive to 654. So
We had Prospect. PR.
Yeah, PR.
7, I think.
Yeah, and people are, what? You got numbers and
I know.
letters and
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah. My throat. Go ahead. Let me.
and but you know, I like that as a fact, and once again was everybody knowing everybody, you know, or knowing somebody's grandparents, and there's a lot of families that have been here a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you say just you and your son are the only...
Just my son and myself, yes.
Yeah. Did you have a partner at any time?
I was married for about 10 years. But, and we lived on the corner of 42nd and Adams
Oh, okay.
at the Watanabe's house.
Right.
And that was 10 years, and he was from Los Angeles, and it was such a switch between the both of us.
Sure.
And so, and then that was it. That was enough.
Sounds good to me. Well, I think we have everything. Excuse me, I know there's a lot. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just let me look at your notes here.
Oh, we're pretty much done.
Okay. The one last thing we do like you to say is happy birthday to Milwaukie. He'll be 120 years old next year. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So just say happy birthday, Milwaukie.
Happy birthday, Milwaukie.
All right. Thank you so much, Alice.